This is the book Karamazov by Fyodor Dostoevsky. He's talking about the problem left by Jesus. Jesus comes to the world. He tells us the truth. He tells us freedom is what will enable us to seek the divine. But this creates this anxiety in people because oh my God, now I have to think for myself. Now I have to go out into the light and feel all this pain. But I don't want to. I just want to live a happy life. I just want to watch TV every day, man. And then so the church is okay, we need to create an organized religion and we need to fool people, okay? How do we fool people? By teaching them that Jesus did actually say these things. And we will not worship Jesus, we will worship Satan instead. Why? Because Satan encourages us to enforce our will on people. We need to be evil in order to do good in the world, okay? Think about this. These children are naughty. Now, we can say to them like Jesus, hey man, you'll grow up one day and then you won't be naughty. So, okay? But in this process, you're gonna hurt each other. You're gonna do stupid things. So we have to be the strict father. We have to create this church in order to enforce the law on people to make sure the children don't hurt themselves so that children can just be children, okay? And quite honestly, most of you guys, 99% of you guys will never ever grow up. So we have to be Satan, okay? So the church, the Catholic Church, will pretend to worship Jesus, but actually, we're going to worship Satan. And so we're going to enforce the law on people. We will now be the evil empire. The Roman Empire is dead, okay? But now the Catholic Church will be the evil empire. And we're going to go around and we're going to persecute people who disobey the law so that everyone can live in peace. People want to be sheep. And you know what? People have the right to be sheep. And so we're going to be the shepherd. We will be Satan. And we will enforce goodness on people whether they like it or not. And this is good for people because now they don't have to accept individual responsibility, right? If my life sucks, it's not because of me, it's because of the devil. It's because of the Catholic Church. It's because of Satan. And that's what's good, okay? So Dostoevsky is saying this is how the Catholic Church came into being. And we'll discuss this in the next class in more detail, okay? Because Jesus left a huge problem, a void in the hearts of people. People want to obey. People want to be told what to do. People don't want to think for themselves. If you make people think for themselves, they'll feel nothing but fear and anxiety, okay? So we need to impose order. So in this story, what happens is the Catholic Church is being the evil empire. It is oppressing people. And so one day, Jesus comes from heaven and he walks among the people. And people will know, oh my God, he's Jesus, he's come back. And he's curing people and they're all happy. But because the Catholic Church worships Satan, they need to arrest this guy. Okay? And the Grand Inquisitor, the leader, appears before Jesus. They have a conversation that Jesus is called a prisoner in the story. And he says to the prisoner, we know who you are. You are Jesus. And we're supposed to worship you, but we're going to have to kill you because you are a threat to the people. You're a threat to the happiness of the people. And what the Grand Inquisitor will say to Jesus is, we create good in this world by being evil. And your presence will destroy this. And therefore we must destroy you, okay? So this is from the brothers Karamazov, okay? Thou this, okay?
Thou didst not love them at all. Thou who didst come to give thy life for them. Instead of taking possession of man's freedom, thou didst increase it.
Okay, so what he's saying is you came to this world to free people, to tell them that the world not exists, that there's a spark inside them, that they don't have to be slaves, they can go where they want. But that just confuses people. That traps people in their own fear and anxiety. Life now becomes complicated. This is really annoying, okay, for people. Because before, your teacher would tell you what is good and what is evil. Now the teacher's saying, you guys decide. Now it's complete chaos. Okay, and again, it creates anxiety in people. People just want to be told what to do. Okay, people were like, at 5 o'clock, we're gonna have dinner at Pizza Hut, okay? People don't want to be like, what should I have for dinner? Okay, people don't want to think, man. You're creating all this anxiety in people for no particular reason. People were happy just being slaves. And now you free them and they're completely confused as to what to do next. So what he's saying again is, your freedom is only good for the minority of people who can think for themselves, who aspire to the divine. What about everyone else? All right, so what he's saying is this, okay? I understand Christianity is complete chaos, okay? But this complete chaos means people will never understand what your true teachings are. And if people don't understand what your true teachings are, they don't have to follow it. They don't have to think for themselves, okay? So we created complete chaos so that people will not be forced to obey us. Okay, that's why we corrupted your teachings. Do you understand this idea? The understand is, why is there evil in the world? Because people don't want to think for themselves. So you need evil people to command people, to enslave people, to force them against their will. Now people are like, well, I don't have a choice in the matter. I can't think for myself. Sorry, man. Okay? If you actually give people complete freedom, it'd be complete chaos in the world. That's why there's Satan. That's why there's Satan in this world. This is why Satan must rule this world. Inquisitor has these great arguments. And the Inquisitor is right. And what he's saying is, okay, Jesus, what's your response to this? And Jesus' response is basically, I forgive you. I love you and I forgive you. Same thing as what Priam did to Achilles, right? And as you can see, by kissing the Inquisitor rather than fighting him, the Inquisitor loses. He knows he's lost. He knows he's been humbled. So he lets Jesus go, says, just get out of here. Please don't bother us again, okay? This is not your world. This is Satan's world. And the kiss glows in his heart, but the old man adheres to his ideas, okay? So Jesus did not change the old man's mind, okay? But there's a spark in him that now glows, okay? The spark that he killed, that he tried all this time to kill with reason, with evil, is still able to glow, okay? And that's the power of forgiveness. Even though the person seems to be the most evil person in the world, and this guy really is the most evil person in the world, as long as you're able to show him the possibility of love, the spark will glow, okay? Now, so the Inquisitor poses this problem like, okay, people don't want to think for themselves. People lack free will. People don't want free will. What's the solution? The solution is the soul is eternal, okay? And you have to give people time. We're talking about like millions of years. Maybe not in 50 years, people will figure it out, but in about 1,000,000 years, people will figure it out for themselves, okay? And Jesus, God, is patient. He's loving. He's forgiving. He's generous. He's compassionate. So take your time, okay? What's important is that people learn for themselves. Eventually, you'll figure out being a slave sucks. You know what? It may seem as though watching Netflix, playing video games, being on all the time is fun, but if you go outside and play, that's a lot more fun, guys. Eventually, you'll figure it out, all right? And you have to figure it out by yourself. So God is forever patient. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, so next class, we'll talk about the Catholic Church and how it came into being and why it really is a church of Satan. All right, why it's going to go against the teaching of Jesus. But Dostoevsky points this out, how the Catholic Church and Jesus are competing forces, okay? All right, now let's go on to Divine Comedy by Dante. And again, Dante is trying to answer the question, why did Jesus have to kill himself? What's the logic of that? That makes no sense, okay? And traditionally, what the Catholic Church teaches people is, it's because when we do evil, we become slaves of Satan. So Jesus made a deal with Satan. Basically, Jesus says, I will die, and then you can take my body, okay? And then you will have to free my people. And Satan's like, that's a really good deal, man. God in exchange for these slaves? Sure, I'll make that deal. But the thing is that Jesus, when he died and he freed us, he cannot ever truly die, okay? Does that make sense? So this is called a ransom theory. And this is how, during Dante's time, most people understood why Jesus had to die. Jesus died so that we would stop being slaves of Satan, and now we are slaves to Jesus. And that's why we must worship Jesus. And Dante's like, no, that can't possibly be right, okay? God will not come to free us so that we become slaves to God. God came to free us so that we could be free, okay? So this is Dante. And what's going to happen here is, in heaven, there's going to be a conversation between Dante and Beatrice, who he loves, okay? And they're going to discuss the nature of the universe. And this is Beatrice talking to Dante.
The greatest gift, the magnanimity of God, as he created, gave the gift most suited to his goodness. Gift that he most prizes was the freedom of the will.
Okay, so the underlying principle of the universe is freedom of the will. If God is love, okay, and he loves people, then he must trust people. Therefore, freedom of the will is the most important principle, okay? Same thing if you're a parent. If you truly love your child, you will let your child go and make his own mistakes. You will not protect your child, okay? Even if it means that your child goes to the park and might get kidnapped or whatever, okay? You have to let him go. You have to let him or her go because true love means trusting other people. Keep on going.
You say, what I have heard is clear to me, but this is hidden from me. Why God willed precisely this pathway for redemption?
Okay, so again, the Catholic Church teaches you that Jesus redeemed us from our sins, okay? But then the question is, why did Jesus have to kill himself again? That makes no sense. Keep on going.
Brother, this ordinance is buried from the eyes of everyone whose intellect has not matured within the flame of love.
So Beatrice is saying to Dante, yes, I know this makes no sense because you're thinking with your mind. But the mind is not where the spark is, okay? The divine spark is in the heart. So stop thinking with your mind and feel with your heart. And let the spark, the divine spark, glow in you, and then you will see the truth for yourself. Okay, keep on going.
The godly godness that has banished every envy from its own self, burned in itself, and sparkling so, it shows internal beauties. All that derives directly from this godness is everlasting, since the seal of godness impressed an imprint that never alters.
Okay, so God is perfect. He's forever good. He's forever love. He's forever compassion, forever forgiveness, okay? And there's a spark of God in us, right? The divine spark, which is our hearts. So there's always this perfection in us. Keep on going.
Only man's sin annuls man's liberty, makes him unlike the highest good, so that in him the brightness of its light is dim.
Okay, this is important, okay? Even though the spark is forever in us, we can cover it up with mud. We can cover it up with dirt. We can forget about it, okay? How? By doing evil. By disobeying. All right? If we do more and more evil, we forget the spark more and more, and it dims in us. So the spark can glow or it can dim depending on our actions. But the spark will always be there. Okay, keep on reading.
And man cannot regain his dignity unless, within left emptiness, man fills a void with just immense for evil pleasure.
Okay, so the problem is this. We do all this evil, and now we can't forgive ourselves. So we're stuck where we are, okay? We cannot compensate for the evil that we do. So what we do is do more evil to ignore the fact that we cannot forgive ourselves. Does that make sense? So evil creates more evil. Evil compounds on evil. So now we're just stuck, okay? So by disobeying God, by eating that fruit, by trying to be like God, we created evil. And this evil forces us to be more evil. Now we're just stuck.
For when your nature sinks so totally within its seed, then from these dignities, just as from paradise, that nature parted.
Okay, so we left the Garden of Eden not because we broke the law. We left the Garden of Eden because we cannot forgive ourselves from the evil that we've committed. And so we keep on doing more and more evil, okay? So the Garden of Eden is metaphorical. Keep on going.
And they can never be regained if you consider carefully by any way that did not pass across one of these fours. Either through nothing other than his mercy, God has to pardon man, or of himself man has to prefer payment for his folly.
Okay, so now that we've broken the law, now that we've disobeyed God, now that there's evil in our hearts, what can we do? Okay, and what Beatrice says is there's two possibilities. The first possibility is that we compensate for the first evil, for the first act of disobedience. And what Beatrice says is, you can't do that because you try to be God. You try to kill God. So you cannot ever compensate God for the evil that you've done, okay? And then she says, well, the other possibility is that God forgives you. The problem, though, is that if God just forgives you, you won't learn anything, okay? So do you understand this idea? Okay, you try to be God, so you can't ever ask for forgiveness for that. Keep on going.
For God showed greater generosity in giving his own self that man might be able to rise, than if he simply pardoned. For every other means fell short of justice, except the way whereby the Son of God humbled himself, where he became incarnate.
Okay, incarnate just means human, okay? So this is why Jesus had to kill himself. All right, so the problem is that God has to forgive us. But he has to forgive us in a way that allows us to learn from our mistakes and be better people, okay? And so let's use an analogy. The analogy is this. I'm a father and I have a daughter named Eve. and I have a dog. And I say to Eve, I love you, Eve, so much. And then Eve says to me, do you love me or do you love the dog more? And I said, I love you both equally. Love is infinite. Of course I love you, but I also love the dog. And Eve goes away and says to herself, yeah, but how do I know he truly loves me? So what Eve does is she kills the dog, okay? And then Eve says to me, hey, do you love me or do you love the dog more? And now I'm kind of stuck, the father, right? Because if I punish her, that shows her I love the dog more, right? But if I don't punish her, she's gonna do this again, okay? She's gonna kill another animal. So I'm stuck. So what do? So what God decides to do is this. The only way out of this conundrum, the only way out of this paradox is if I punish myself, okay? Because I should have said to her, I love you as much as the dog, all right? So what I do is I take a whip and I hit myself. And Eve watches this. And now Eve knows, first of all, I do love her because I'm punishing myself for her sake. And second of all, she won't do it again because she doesn't want to see me punished. And that's why Jesus had to kill himself. Do you understand? That's the logic here. Now it makes sense, right? God had to punish himself so that we would be humbled by a sacrifice. We would feel so much remorse and regret for making God die that we would never ever disobey him again. We would never ever try to become God ourselves. And that's why this had to happen. Okay? And because of this, Jesus freed us from the evil in us and led us to the path of good. Because now, all we have to do is remember Jesus, remember what he said, remember what he taught, and we'll forever be on the path towards the light. What's happening is this, and this is what Dante teaches us. You're thinking with your head, okay? Because you're still young. When you grow older and your heart matures and you have more life experience, then you'll be able to feel with your heart. Once you feel with your heart, all this will make sense to you, okay? But I completely understand where you're coming from, because at your age, if someone told me this, I'd be like, you're crazy. This makes no sense. Because if you do evil, then your entire life should be one of evil. If you do evil, evil should come to you, okay? But what Jesus is saying is like, no, in that world, no one can be happy, okay? Because the people whose evil has been done to them are so focused on vengeance, on hatred, on anger, that you can never ever be a happy person, okay? You leave the monad, you leave the divine, okay? So when you hate someone, you're actually hating yourself as opposed to that person.